What is going on, guys? JetXC here, man. I hope you've been doing good. I hope you enjoyed my video about basic team comps. I'll leave a little clip of it at the end there. You can click on it to check it out. But today I want to talk about a lot of free-to-plays, new players, people that are getting into the game. How the hell do you do big damage in the game? You keep seeing clips of people doing huge damage. You keep getting confused on what to build. Is it crit rate, crit damage? First off, to put it very simply, the meta right now is crit damage, and I'll get into why. But for a lot of you beginners and free-to-plays, I need you to know this. Building rare gear is tantamount in this game. Rare gear will literally get you through 85 to 90% of the content, I promise you. Literally. Maybe 80 to 85, maybe not 90, but it's to the point where you'll still have characters with rare gear. So heck, let me go through this. So as you can see, right, I've got a lot of UR gear on here, on her, and these are my really big damage dealers, and some of them I use in PvP, right? So cool. Justia, I stopped using Justia personally, but I have rare gear on her. Rubia, I have rare gear on her still with some UR gear. Same rare gear. Layla, I don't use as much rare gear. Angelica, some UR gear with some rare gear. Right? So the reason I bring this up is because if you check out my video, I go into beginner tips and a gear guide basically in general. And I'll summarize it, but please check it out because I really go into detail. When you're playing this game and you unlock rare gear, you will use rare gear throughout the majority of like getting through the content. You don't want to use SR gear. The reason being is because SR gear, one, the resources you need for SR gear will mess up your resources that you need for UR gear, and you will need a lot of resources, right? Two, the difference in damage is not that big of a difference. You can argue that if you have an SR EX gear that is like a weapon for somebody, okay, sure, put that on. But in general, building SR gear is not worth it. The only piece of SR gear that is worth it in this game because of meta is, let me show you, the Hero's Ring, right? So when you unlock SR gear for your damage dealers only, so let's say you've got Leatrice, let's say you've got Rubia, let's say you've got a Dalvi. The Hero's Ring is important because it gives you crit damage, and hopefully you get another stat under here that's also crit damage, but it doesn't matter. You will need crit damage, and hopefully on this ring, when you're going through main stats and substats, you can kind of edit it to get crit damage. But you know, I kind of go into substats and main stats in the original video. But the reason crit damage is so important is because in this game, the top tier characters are supports, right? So before I get into it, newbie players, rare gear will get you through the game. Don't worry about building crit damage until you have enough to get an SR ring, and only use that SR ring for your damage dealers. Otherwise, save everything until you unlock UR gear. It's okay. Everybody still uses rare gear for the most part, unless you're like high up and you're a whale. It's okay to use rare gear. Rare gear is good. Cool. Now, tier 0 characters, top tier characters are the supports. Now, why is that? Let's take a look. B. Helena. At +5, B. Helena gives you 50% crit rate. Crazy. Let's take another look. Diana, 30% crit rate. So what am I trying to say here? Let's take a look at one more before I start yapping. At +2, 50% crit rate. So when you're in the late game, you're trying to get through hard content, Evil Castle, Tower of Desire, Tower of Wrath, right? And then a lot of the later chapters in this game. When you run double support, guess what happens? The characters that you use to build crit damage, they have an 80% chance to crit. Where to get that 80% from? Well, Helena, Diana, combined together, one does 50, one does 30, will give you 80% crit. If you do Red Riding Hood Row and Arenas, you'll get 80% crit. So depending on the number of the crit rate you get from characters, you will get a big bonus of crit rate damage. Now, let's take a look at something here. Milo Win is +5. I have crit rate at 7%, guys. If she's alone by herself, she's doing nothing. She's doing no damage. But crit damage is at 576. So what that means is Lowen will go right after my buffers give her a buff and she will deal tons. Now typically, and this is for late game folks, when you get your UR gear, you want to at least try to shoot for, and it might be a little tough, 400 crit damage. Ideally, if you want to do insane damage, if you can get anywhere up to 5 to 600%, which is, guys, look, in order for me to get here, you need a lot of resources when you're juggling like substats and main stats. So if you could somehow even make it to 500, that's still good. Like, don't worry about it, right? Because past 500, now you're kind of getting into PvP territory and like really late game content. Like, you're trying to get to the top of Tower Desire and Fiend Hunt and all that stuff. But in general, anywhere between 4 to 500 is pretty good. But preferably, if you could get to 500, oh my god, the damage, right? So when you get to late game, when you're unlocking UR gear, you're gonna want to switch into buffers. Double buffers preferably. Sometimes you can run one buffer and then it's like a 50-50 chance depending on your buffing unit, right? So, you know, if you really do enough damage, you don't need the double buff and it's a flip of a coin with like Helena, okay, cool, whatever, right? Double buffs just secure that guaranteed damage no matter what. So crit damage is the meta right now, and it's to the point where even the devs know that crit damage is pretty much the meta. I forgot which character, but I remember them adjusting a character due to like the meta of crit damage. I forgot which one though. But let's take a look at an example here. I want to show you guys what big damage can look like. So I'm gonna do Fiend Hunt practice mode here, and I'm just gonna put it. I'm gonna put it at like level 5. Okay. We're gonna practice. So this is I haven't even read this, guys. I'm gonna be honest. Do I even want to read it? No, I don't care. I haven't read this at all, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But it's a, oh shoot, I gotta make my team real quick. So it's a win unit. So I'm gonna take her out. Take her out. Take her out. I'm gonna put Leatrice, the win, and shoot. Let's just put Lucrezia just for extra battery. So now again, I was just talking about double buffers, but for this, for Fiend Hunt, if you crit, what is it? I forget the number. Oh shoot. There's a certain amount of time that you can crit in order to get guaranteed crit rate. I think it's. Oh yeah, if 3+ chains are stacked on a Fiend's weak part, all parts take guaranteed crit damage. So after a 3 chain, you are guaranteed crit. And this is specifically for Fiend Hunt because people were kind of going back and forth on how to make it a little bit better. So, yeah. That is... Actually, hang on. Let me change this one more time. Sorry, guys. I know I'm yapping back and forth here. But, actually, you know what? We're just going to demonstrate Lowen and Leatrice. So, let's go in here. But, again, just imagine this team with double buffers, right? So, just take that into account. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take her. Alright, we're going to put Lowen last. I have my one buffer here that gives me 30%, but I'm really doing this for the increased aura damage here. So this will give me some extra damage in terms of elemental damage. So let's watch closely here. So we're going to get the guaranteed crit, and we're going to watch how Leatrice and the wind do damage. So let's check it out. Here we go. Alright, get our guaranteed crit because we get the chain, so 100% crit rate. Leatrice. Okay. Huge. Lowen. Big damage coming in, guys. Here we go. Oh my god. Okay, pause. Lowen did over 1,000,000 damage. Now, there's probably some Lowens that are way more cracked than mine, but I just did 1,000,000 off of that. Guys, I'm telling you, when it comes to a lot of these bosses, they're sponges when it comes to health. So when you build crit damage, you saw that health bar disappeared. So just keep that in mind, guys. And I'm going to finish it off here with... let's see if I can finish it off, actually. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is good. But yeah, guys, that is just a sneak peek of what big damage will look like when you start to crit rate in this game. Again, this is for late game, so keep that in mind. So let's end this video off. Hopefully we can finish it. I just realized I used the wrong skill, so I might not. But let's see what happens. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Okay. Practice over. Yeah, guys, so hopefully this video helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. But, yeah, I don't want this video to be any longer, so any questions, just leave them in the comments. Later, guys.